Hey,
How you going?
thank you so much for coming on the show. You guys here have created at Spiff an awesome way to personalise products and brands. Really increases engagement, I believe, when people are purchasing and their enjoyment of products. But that's my sum up, I guess, of yourself, Shadi, and what you guys do. But yeah, for people that don't know you, tell us a bit about yourself.
You want to know background or?
Yeah, a little bit of background into you and then the company as well.
Okay. Okay. All right. Well, so Spiff started as a true startup 3 years ago. I'd sold out a previous company of mine, which was in print. We specifically focused on variable data printing and paper engineering. We did a lot of very bespoke type stuff, and so and we had a lot of tier one sort of clients. And the idea behind it was that we were being used by those clients to do very bespoke marketing material for their tier one clients. So we had this sort of roof above our head that we couldn't this ceiling that we couldn't crash through because obviously we were expensive, being so bespoke. And so the idea came to me probably 7 or 8 years ago, where what I wanted to do was effectively democratize the ability to be able to personalize any product at any level, either at any scale. So large numbers or even down to the unit of one. And so the idea to create a company that that developed a web-based editor that allowed people to personalize products was born. It started off very different. We started off by trying to become like the e-commerce player of personalized products, whereby we would engage with companies and try to list their products on our site and then promote and so on. And then after a while, we kind of realized that the opportunity for us, that we were doing two things, and two very large things that were difficult, which is one of which was to actually create a platform, and to create an e-commerce business, right? Whereby we would try to acquire customers and bring them to our site, and that wasn't really our sort of area of expertise. And the idea came to us to actually say, all right, well, why don't we let the people that know how to sell the products be the ones to sell them, and let's just provide them with the services. And so we started building out our platform so that it was, it could be attached via plug-in to the popular e-commerce sites, and that's what we've got today.
Definitely. So I guess being that provider to enable people to go to that next level with personalization, it's something I've noticed over maybe the last 3 years as well. If you can, I guess as a broad sense, do you see the benefit of personalization is for, a brand like on the table there, Vegemite or Maltesers, and how do you see it as a big win for these players?
Yeah, I mean, look, it's an obvious one. I think that this proliferation, the proliferation of social media has proven to us that we're a culture of people that like to talk and act about do things that where we're the center of attention, where we're the the star of the show, and personalization gives big brands like your Vegemites and Cokes and so on, an opportunity to allow customers to be a part of that, of their brand, right? So it creates an especially good emotional connection between the consumer and the actual brand itself.
Yeah, I guess on that point, speak to the virality and the shareability of these things. As soon as you've got, someone's name Matthew or Jamison or Caitlin, how does that then, motivate people to share this around?
I think it's just, like I said, I think it's just that whole idea that, I've got my name on a Vegemite jar, I mean, the perfect example was when Ash Barty, and they announced that they were going to change the name of the brand to Vegemite. And in conjunction, they launched a personalization campaign. Everybody was creating their own mite, right? So, a Tim was, calling it Tim Mite, a Matthew Mite, a Jim Mite. And so, I think everybody enjoyed the fact that they could be also part of that whole experience. So, it was, I think it's just that whole ability to be able to almost live in the shoes of these celebrities that get all these products named after them.
Yeah,
right?
You then become the celebrity.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, and the beauty of it is the virility, comes from the fact that, if you're buying a Vegemite jar for a child in your household, most people these days have got more than one, some two, some three. You really can't just buy one for one child. You have to buy one for every child. And then you find that every single child only eats from their Vegemite jar. And the idea of, essentially, forcing the consumer to buy more product than what they need,
talk about increasing average purchase.
Yeah. But I think the main thing that comes from this is not the profitability that they generate from incremental sales, from the personalization of the jars. It's more the interaction and the discussion, and that whole it's another avenue for the brand to use to be able to stay front of mind with the consumer. So I know with Coke, I mean, they're not, they don't, I'm sure that their sales haven't increased, globally as a result of the actual campaign itself, but they have increased sales and met targets off the back of all the discussion and all the media and all of the publicity around this whole Share a Coke campaign.
Yeah, well, it would be amiss of me not to talk about that as almost the first real publicised example of personalisation, and we saw that really took off. You did speak to the benefits of there, but what was it, do you think, that Coke did with that campaign that really made it stand out? Because anyone could have gone with personalisation, but it was something that they did that.
Yeah, well, I think where it really worked well for Coke in the first place was just the fact that they did it on such a large scale, and had it had the cans in every store, all around the world so quickly, and the frenzy and that was created off the back of people, searching for their names and so on in stores was just really well publicized. And I think that social media has a lot to do with that. The ability to be able to have people sharing those experiences online drove a lot of new interest towards the brand, or just re-engage the brand with the consumer. So I think that's really the main thing. I think it's another way for the consumer it's a way for them to get in front of the consumer from the perspective of without having to actually forcibly put themselves there via a TVC or a billboard or something, or something that people don't want in their face.
It's something different, and then the consumer. I think the really cool part about it is the consumer chooses now to share. They choose to be a part of it. It's not, as you say, pushed in their face anymore. It's now, hang on, this is something I want to do, and
it's on their terms. A person interacts with the brand on their terms now, and they feel a lot more in control. And I think that's what, again, this is something that social media has done. It's turned us into all into control freaks. We all want to be the masters of our own destiny, and the brands allowing consumers to be masters of their brand, is serving that purpose. It's feeding that that desire.
Definitely. So, I mean, obviously this gives a big push to brand. You're doing things with your logo, you're doing things on your website, you're creating massive amounts of brand equity. But I really like the phrase branding for branding's sake is kind of pointless. But this is branding that's also attached to sales. So could you speak to, I guess, what you've seen in terms of a brand that is pre-personalization and then post-personalization in terms of both the brand output, because that is important, but then return on investment? Do you have any sort of figures around that? Or
Well, look, I mean, the idea is, and I've been talking to brands even before I started this business, when we were doing, when we were at my previous company. We really spoke to the fact that branding and labels and packaging was just such a missed opportunity for so long, and that people were using it as a branding exercise when it should have been a communications piece. It's a way to communicate with your customers, right? And look, to their not to sort of put it, harshly towards them, but the technology just wasn't there until recently, to be able to interact. Now we have things like augmented reality, we have QR codes that are so easy to use. Augmented reality is a good one, but still there's the barrier to augmented reality is just that whole requirement of having to download an app. I think that's still creating a bit of a barrier, for the AR space, but that'll go because already the technology is now available via your standard camera app through Safari. But I think what we need is for the consumer market to catch up with the technology. So once everybody gets to that sort of 2018 technology in their devices, then I think you'll find that AR will really take off.
Yeah.
And there's a significant investment by both Google and Apple in that space, to service that particular market via their devices.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen it in something as simple as a QR code. Like I was telling my friends, I said, the moment you don't need an app to open a QR code, that's when they'll take off. Fast forward now, 2020, most phones just in your camera app can read QR codes.
Correct.
And
that's where AR will be very shortly. In fact, it's there now. It's just only there for certain devices, which becomes, problematic when you're delivering a nationwide campaign and, only 5% of the market hold the devices that you need to be able to execute that sort of campaign. But that'll change in time, The whole idea is, till now we've sort of really focused on just the benefits to the enterprise side of the market. And like I said, I don't think enterprise does personalization to make a profit on personalization. I think they do it more for that overall branding and increased interaction. But what we have done is in building our app for e-commerce platforms such as Shopify and WordPress and some others as well, is that we've made this sort of technology available to the smallest merchant that you can think of. So a florist could sit there and offer personalized greeting cards through our platform by installing our app onto their Shopify store, and they could be within 10 minutes, via a 3D model, they could have a design up on the platform that customers could go on, put a personalized, message, place a photo into a predetermined spot. Again, it's via a very stepped work through that's intuitive and easy to use for the consumer, and they interact with it via a 3D model of that actual product, and then you can place a video that plays over the top of that a photo to make that photo look like it's coming to life. So there you have, the ability for a florist to deliver an augmented reality greeting card, and they can do it for as low as $9.95 a month.
Wow.
Right? So the whole idea of being able to democratize personalization, I feel like we've really worked hard to achieve that, and we're just, we're now just starting to see the benefits of that with all the recent installs of our app from all around the world.
Yeah, and that's something. Actually, I research that I did, I didn't realize it was also open to the small business owner as well.
Yeah, in fact, that's probably the our main focus is because those are the people that will benefit. So those are the people that will see incremental sales, right, from personalization. So they're the people that we think will, where personalization will actually work as a way to increase their overall sales, because it's a point of difference. It's a way for the consumer to interact, to offer interaction via gifting, let's say, for example. So say if you wanted to buy somebody a gift and somebody had a particular, product, like, I'm not sure, what's the product that we do? I can't think of one right now. Oh, like a bottle of wine.
There we
right?
go. Yeah.
So like a bottle of wine. So if you wanted to buy someone a bottle of wine, you could go onto a website. In fact, we have a company called brewtopia.com.au that do that use our app. So you could go onto their website. You can, create, you choose from one of the many designs that they created on our platform, and then you can, it can be as easy as just type in your name and your message, type in a message and type in your name and the name of the person you're giving this bottle to, or upload a photo, or place an augmented reality on it, or you actually completely change the design. So, so from a gifting perspective, that's something that
Massive.
is working to the favour of the customers, of the merchants that we have that are actually using our personalisation platform.
Definitely. It really, really enhances. So a big buzzword at the moment, or it's been around for a while, customer experience or UX design as well, but more so customer experience. And I think by building in these things like the bottle of wine, like the flowers, it gives people moments when they open this package and they go, wow, that's different. Talk about customer experience. So do you have an opinion, I guess, on the levels of really wowing a customer through personalization?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, the first and foremost, is to see your design come to life on the actual product in real time, on the actual through the experience. So we're finding that the percentage of people that start a design and complete it are really off the charts. Like, in some campaigns we've had as high as 80% completing designs going into the cart, and they're great numbers, right? So I think that generally speaking, with product personalization, you find that people start the personalization process or the customization process, and halfway go, like it's I've had enough, or it's too hard, or blah blah. But when they see the product actually changing in real time and they can spin it around, and we can even animate those 3D models so that the product actually, like, we can have the Vegemite bottle start growing legs and with my name on it and start dancing around and singing that happy little Vegemite song. It's, as the content is really the key in delivering these sorts of campaigns. All we do is provide the tools to be able to deliver that content to the consumer in a way that that drives interactivity.
Yeah, I'd love to actually talk about those tools and what you've done. The listener listening along that wants to do this as a strategy, but is now thinking, okay, I've got probably about 100 to 1,000 clients, and that's a different name, a different time, and they could get stressed out with how foreseeably, I guess, complicated that could seem. But I think you guys have kind of streamlined that process.
Yeah.
So tell me a bit about how that works.
Yeah. So what we've done is we've from the front end, as we've sort of spoken about, we've got this ability to be able to, customize, a stepped workflow that the merchant wants to be able to deliver to their consumer via the use of a 3D model and our stepper. But from the back end, we can configure fulfillment in any way that the consumer needs it. So there's a lot of companies out there that do their own fulfillment. So they've got their own printers, they've got their own ability to be able to create the product that they want to have, that they're offering for personalization. But a majority of them don't have that capability, and we have the ability to be able to route those orders to a third-party manufacturer of their choosing. So, or we make suggestions for them. So we have corporates come to us and say, look, we want, the entire process taken care of, from design, fulfillment, all the way through to, design, fulfillment, all the way through to, delivering it straight to the customer. And, we've got that because of our, our network of fulfillers. we've got that covered, and we can scale that up anywhere in the world.
Yeah, fantastic. And that makes that, again, just adds more less friction, I suppose, or more simplicity to the process. So.
Yeah, it's how much, like, so personalization is there. With the way that we're developing it, it's designed to be as easy or as complex as you want. You can a simple, like within 10 minutes you can have yourself products on your website that you don't even ever see that you offer for personalization. Right through to you being able to offer the consumer a really, really, like, say you're a pillow manufacturer and you want to, or you're a furniture company and you want to offer customers the ability when they're buying a couch to personalize the throw pillows that go on it. How many times, have you walked into, let's say, an IKEA and gone, I like that color with those stripes, and that little flick over on the corner of the pillow. I'd love it if I could combine all those three. And so this is now something that those furniture manufacturers can offer, because they probably don't want to be sitting there sewing these things up together. Those orders can be routed and then either sent to the consumer or back to the actual retailer for the consumer to go in and pick up.
Yeah. And you touched on a little bit there, the e-commerce side of this. In an age where you can create a Shopify website in 2 hours and you can, everybody understands that you can drop ship things from Alibaba or wherever, but it's the point I'm trying to make here is it's easier than ever to start an e-commerce store now. Therefore, the barrier to entry is a lot lower. So we need to find ways to differentiate ourselves. And I think that personalization, the brands that I've been seeing, some do canvases where they turn you into a cartoon. Others like these kind of things, but this gives e-commerce stores a real leg up, doesn't it?
Oh, absolutely. And we're seeing it in our customers. We've got some customers that do amazing things, that offer amazing things for their customers, where the product is like, we've got one customer that we're talking to that does hand painted shoes. So they're like sneakers. And you tell them, that you give them a picture of yourself, and you tell them, whatever message you want to put on there, and your favorite colors, and this, that, and then they get an artist to actually paint onto a canvas, onto the actual canvas of the shoe, and they look amazing. It's so different. But how do they portray that? How do they portray to the customer that experience that they're going to get? Like being able to do that with our software makes it really easy to be able to deliver that sort of experience. We've got another customer again in the shoe space who offers hand made shoes, and to the point where you can, if there's 4 or 5 different panels on the shoe and they're hand sewn together, and you can choose different textures, and you can choose different colored shoelaces, and different soles and so on. And how does he portray that in a way that will convince a person to spend, £300 or £400 on a pair of shoes online? Again, through the use of our 3D editor, we can deliver a really high-end output that when as the consumer is, designing it, they feel like, wow, I would pay £300 for these shoes. I'm not going to abandon this cart, because I can see the pair of shoes that I designed in the way that I wanted. I used the colors that I wanted on the panels that I wanted. I've got my monogram on there. I feel like they're mine already. Please give them to me. That's the button order. Please give them to me. And that's what you find. There's an emotional connection created with the product before they even get it. And that's done via this experience that we create.
Yeah, it's almost like a good example is video games. NBA 2K, NBA Live, all for years. You create your own player, and it's you, and then you can change the shoes, you can different armbands. Like video games have done that, and you then get engrossed with the player, and you feel like you're the player, and they do that for a reason. But now we're seeing we can do it in a commercial sense, which is fascinating and really, really cool.
That's right. I mean, that's the next natural progression of personalization, is to really gamify that whole purchasing experience, and I think it's definitely trending towards that.
For sure. How about, so we talked e-commerce, how about for the service-based business, the mortgage broker, for example, who wants to give client gifts a little bit more oomph? Do you see any examples with real estate agents, mortgage brokers?
Yeah, I mean, so they would, I would imagine those sorts of, companies would be very good customers of our merchants that offer those sorts of products for, for sale. And we're already seeing that. I mean, certainly, the company that sells, personalized wine, that's, a good portion of their business is there for corporate gifting, and the more we can make those products look special, I mean, personalization started its life as a very simple thing, putting a name on a can. Right now, personalization is a lot more than that. It's personal. Like we're even getting to the point where we want to be able to personalize the content as well. And the contents of the actual item. If I can, get this particular type of wine with this particular type of message, I'm going to pay more for that than if I can just get a plain bottle of wine that I don't that I'm not sure what sort of quality it is and so on. A person's going to be able to, if they've got the choice, and that's what it comes down to. If they've got the choice, and you give them the choice, and they can interact with that via personalization, they're always going to do it.
Definitely. Can you touch on, we talked a little bit about it, but augmented reality, because if it's personalization is now going from just the name on the bottle, what more are we looking at in terms of the rise of more technology like augmented reality? What's happening in that space?
Oh, look, I think that we're in for a real awakening with augmented reality. I think it's the calm before the storm. It's still not there yet. And look, it's evident by the fact that we launched the world's first personalized augmented reality campaign during Christmas, at BIGW stores via a Nestle campaign for Allen's and Kit Kat. And it's still something that, the barrier is, that's there is that whole having to download an app, that effort that people are going to put in. But as we progress and the devices progress, right, we're going to move from, needing an app to just using our camera and our phone. And then from there, we're going to move on to wearables. And once the wearables market proliferates and that becomes, I'm imagining that, a pair of spectacles that you wear every day will have, the technology in it to be able to, deliver augmented reality at any time. So they'll be Wi-Fi'd and they'll be able to project images into like digital images into space. And what you'll find is you'll just be walking down the street and you'll see digital icons on something, and you'll just be able to literally click into the air, and bang, you'll see that particular campaign. It'll be the new way. I think that augmented reality will end up being what text messaging is for us today, and obviously Messenger and all the other messaging apps.
Yeah, it'll just become such an ingrained part of our society.
Correct.
That
it'll be a tool that we use, but I think it's one of those things that, we still, technology, the devices that we need to make it an everyday part of our life are still not there.
Yeah, it's that back to the QR code example.
Correct. Yeah. I mean, QR codes have been around since I was a kid.
Yeah.
But only now. I mean, we thought they were dead 20 times, but we're still doing it for customers, because it's there's no barrier. You open up your camera on your phone, which everybody can do in one click. Everybody's got it. And then you just bang and off you go.
Yeah. I mean, I'm getting a bookmark design that has QR code on it that goes to the podcast. So yeah, it's now becoming that thing because technology is there.
Yeah.
Yeah, very cool. I think that's a really cool spot to leave it on, actually. But I've got two more questions. One is, what's coming up for you guys in the next sort of 6 to 12 months that you're really excited about?
Oh, we have a lot that we're excited about. I don't know how much I can talk about on Thingo, but we have a lot.
Just say the things you can talk about. Yeah.
We have a lot. Like this is a space that's, it's very energetic. It's very fast moving. There's a lot of activity in our space. we're finding that it's not like that corporates are really receptive towards wanting to innovate in this space at the moment, which is allowing us to really be free, like in our thinking, some of two of the best things that we're going to deliver. I wouldn't be able to talk about just yet, but certainly for us, the thing that we want to work on the most is making our plugin, from an onboarding perspective, more and more automated. Right now, it's a very manual process. The customer has to install the plugin, they have to sign up, and then they have to contact us effectively via the submission of a form, and then we communicate with them and help them on board. But so that'll be really our goal for this year, is to really automate that entire process so that a person can install our app and within 10-15 minutes, assuming that they have the content and the assets that they need to be able to deliver those sorts of campaigns or those sorts of workflows or designs. Assuming those things exist, we would want them to be up within 10 minutes. So that's our real main goal for this year. But there's a lot of really cool stuff that we're working on. We're just not ready to disclose just yet.
Fair enough. No, fair enough. We'll have to get you back on when you're ready to.
Yeah.
And I usually ask people if they've heard something, how to reach out to yourself. But I think the more relevant question for you is if there's a business owner listening along right now, and I know you probably are because you're a service-based or you're an e-commerce person, if they want to really take their customer experience to the next level and do some personalization, how do they reach out to you and where do they find you?
Well, they can reach us on through our contact page on our website. They can, it's got our phone numbers. They can reach us on Calendly. My calendar is available online.
Yep.
I think it's just calendly.com/Spiff help, and you can book a time anytime. It's a Zoom conference, so we can share screens, we can do demos with anybody anywhere around the world. And I try to be available as many hours of the day as I can, especially in these early stages, to talk to as many customers as possible.
Fantastic. Well, Shadi, I've been Tim, you've been Shadi, and we've been talking. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you. Cheers.
Cheers.
Thanks.